There is a war being waged in silence, not with weapons or armies, but with something far more insidious, the quiet erasure of those who think too deeply, question too boldly, and see too clearly. If you have ever felt punished for being right, if your insights have been met with hostility rather than gratitude, then what I am about to share will change everything you thought you knew about intelligence, society, and your own place within it. Throughout history, the pattern repeats with haunting consistency. Socrates was forced to drink poison. Galileo was imprisoned for daring to suggest the earth revolved around the sun. Giordano Bruno was burned at the stake for imagining infinite worlds. These were not criminals. They were not threats to public safety. They were simply people who looked at reality without the comfortable filters that most humans desperately cling to. And for that unforgivable sin, they were systematically destroyed. But here is what no one tells you. This silencing did not end in ancient times. It did not disappear with the Enlightenment or vanish in our age of supposed free speech and open discourse. It has simply evolved, becoming more sophisticated, more subtle, more difficult to identify. Today, the hemlock comes in different forms. Social ostracism, professional sabotage, the slow assassination of reputation through whispers and exclusion. The prison is no longer made of stone walls, but of invisible barriers that keep brilliant minds trapped in mediocrity, their voices muffled by a society that fears what they might say. The psychological research reveals something deeply troubling. Studies consistently show that highly intelligent individuals face unique social challenges that most people never consider. They are more likely to experience isolation, more prone to anxiety and depression, and paradoxically, less likely to achieve positions of leadership despite their obvious capabilities. But why? Why would evolution create minds capable of solving humanity's greatest problems, only to have society systematically reject them? The answer lies in understanding a fundamental truth about human nature that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Groups do not optimize for truth. Groups optimize for cohesion, and intelligence, by its very nature, disrupts cohesion. The person who sees the flaw in the plan, who questions the comfortable assumption, who notices what everyone else has agreed to ignore, that person becomes a threat. Not because they are wrong, but precisely because they are right. Think about it. When someone points out an uncomfortable truth, what happens to the group dynamic? Suddenly, everyone must confront something they had successfully been avoiding. Suddenly, the shared reality that held the group together begins to crack. And in that moment, the messenger becomes the enemy. It is not rational, it is not fair, but it is deeply, fundamentally human. There is a concept in psychology called the Cassandra Complex, named after the Greek prophetess who was cursed to speak true prophecies that no one would believe. Imagine knowing with certainty that disaster approaches, warning everyone you love, and watching them dismiss you as paranoid, pessimistic, or simply difficult. Imagine being right again and again, and having that accuracy become the very reason people stop listening. This is not mythology. This is the lived experience of countless intelligent people who have learned, often through painful repetition, that being correct is rarely rewarded and frequently punished. If this resonates with you, if you have felt the strange weight of knowing something others refuse to see, then you understand a loneliness that few can comprehend. You understand the exhaustion of constantly calibrating yourself, dimming your light so others feel comfortable, pretending not to notice what is obvious to you. You have learned, perhaps without even realizing it, to make yourself smaller, and somewhere along the way, you began to wonder if there was something wrong with you. Let me be absolutely clear. There is nothing wrong with you. The discomfort you create in others is not evidence of your deficiency. It is evidence of their limitation, and the silence they impose upon you is not a reflection of your worth, but a desperate attempt to preserve an illusion they cannot afford to lose. Consider the workplace, that modern arena where this dynamic plays out daily. Research has shown that highly intelligent employees are often perceived as threatening by managers with average abilities. They are passed over for promotions, excluded from important meetings, and subjected to subtle forms of professional marginalization. Their ideas are stolen and repackaged by those with better political instincts. Their contributions are minimized while their mistakes are magnified. And when they finally leave, exhausted and disillusioned, the narrative becomes that they were difficult, not a team player, unable to fit in. But the wound goes deeper than professional disappointment. There is a spiritual dimension to this silencing that touches the very core of identity. When your perceptions are consistently denied, when your reality is treated as fiction, something inside begins to fracture. Psychologists call it epistemic violence, the systematic attack on someone's way of knowing the world. It creates a form of cognitive dissonance that can be genuinely destabilizing. You begin to question your own sanity. You wonder if maybe you really are wrong, if maybe everyone else sees something you cannot. If this idea has already resonated with you, imagine what comes next. Subscribe so you do not miss the rest of this journey. Here is where the transformation begins. Because understanding the mechanism of your silencing is only the first step. The real question is, what do you do with this knowledge? How do you reclaim your voice without becoming bitter? Without retreating into isolation, without playing the same destructive games that society has played with you. The ancient Stoics understood something profound about this dilemma. Marcus Aurelius, perhaps the most powerful man in the world during his time, wrote extensively about the importance of speaking truth while accepting that truth might not be welcomed. He did not advocate for aggressive confrontation or passive surrender. Instead, he proposed a third path, the cultivation of what he called inner citadel, an unshakable core of self-knowledge that remains intact regardless of external validation. This is the first key to reclaiming your voice. You must build within yourself a foundation so solid that the approval or disapproval of others becomes irrelevant to your sense of truth. This does not mean arrogance. It does not mean dismissing feedback or assuming you are always right. It means developing the capacity to hold your perceptions steady, even when everyone around you insists they are wrong. It means learning to say, quietly and firmly, I know what I saw. I know what I know. The second key involves understanding timing and context. Intelligent people often make the mistake of believing that truth should be spoken immediately, completely, and without consideration for audience. But wisdom is not simply knowing what is true. Wisdom is knowing when truth can be heard, how it can be presented, and who is capable of receiving it. This is not about manipulation or dishonesty. It is about recognizing that truth delivered at the wrong moment, in the wrong way, to the wrong person, is not just ineffective, but often counterproductive. The Buddhist tradition speaks of skillful means, the ability to adapt one's message to the capacity of the listener. A master teacher does not share advanced concepts with beginning students, not because those concepts are secret, but because the student lacks the foundation to understand them. Similarly, you must learn to read the readiness of those around you. Some people will never be ready. Others simply need time and the right conditions. The third key is perhaps the most challenging. You must find your tribe. The isolation that intelligent people experience is real, but it is not inevitable. Somewhere in this vast world, there are others who see what you see, who think as deeply, who have fought the same battles against mediocrity and conformity. Your task is to find them. This may require looking in unexpected places. It may require patience, but the reward is immeasurable, a connection built not on superficial similarity, but on the rare and precious foundation of genuine understanding. But there is a secret even more profound that few ever discover. The very quality that causes your silencing, your ability to see beyond comfortable illusions, is not a curse, but an evolutionary imperative. Nature creates variant minds precisely because homogeneity leads to extinction. The person who sees what others miss, who questions what others accept, who imagines what others cannot, that person serves a function essential to the survival of the species. You are not a mistake. You are not a glitch in the system. You are the system's attempt to correct itself. This realization carries tremendous responsibility, because if your voice matters, if your perceptions serve a vital purpose, then your silence is not just a personal tragedy, it is a loss for everyone. Every time you dim your light to make others comfortable, the collective intelligence diminishes. Every time you swallow a truth to preserve harmony, the world becomes slightly less capable of solving its problems. The great psychologist Carl Jung wrote about the importance of individuating, becoming fully and authentically oneself, despite the pressure of collective expectations. He understood that the greatest gift you can give to society is not conformity, but the unique contribution that only you can make. And that contribution requires courage, the courage to be seen, the courage to be heard, the courage to be wrong, and the courage to be right. So here is the ultimate truth I want to leave you with. Your intelligence is not a burden. Your perception is not a disease. The discomfort you create in a world that prefers comfortable lies to uncomfortable truths is not evidence of your failure, but proof of your necessity. You were not made to fit in. You were made to stand out. And while that standing will sometimes be lonely, it will also be meaningful in ways that fitting in could never be. The silencing of intelligent people is real. It has always been real. But it only succeeds when the silenced internalize their silence, when they begin to believe that the cage was built for their own protection. Today, I am asking you to question that belief. I'm asking you to consider that perhaps, just perhaps, the world needs your voice more than it needs your compliance. Speak, even when your words tremble. Think, even when your thoughts disturb. See, even when what you see frightens those around you. Because somewhere out there, someone is waiting to hear exactly what you have been afraid to say. And their awakening depends on your courage. If this message has touched something within you, leave a comment below. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone who has been made to feel small for being too much. Subscribe to this channel so we can continue this journey together, exploring the uncomfortable truths that set us free. And remember, your voice is not a weapon to be feared, it is a gift to be shared. The silence ends when you decide it ends. Let that moment be now.